TV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to Core TV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click Core TV, leave a space, then News. Core TV News, a 24-hour news station.
Glad to have you join us again on Cool Digest Monday. I'm joined now by Adewale Balogun, and he's the Special Assistant to Osun State Governor on Social Mobilization and Guidance. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on Cool Digest.
It's my pleasure.
All right, you were in Lagos over the weekend to collect your own PVC.
Yes.
By that, I want to believe that you'll be voting in Lagos as well.
Yes, I'll be doing that.
How would you describe your experience during the permanent voter cards collection exercise over the weekend?
It is not quite different from other reports from other parts of Lagos. In Yaba, where I collected my own PVC, on Friday, when the program was supposed to start, INEC officials, the ad hoc officials of INEC, came late.
Okay.
They came around 3:34. So at the end of the day, they just address people who are waiting to collect.
3:34 in the evening?
3 p.m. on Friday. So nothing was done. But they came later on Wednesday, on Saturday. Okay. And they started, there's something around 10. Aside that, there are several units in my ward that, in fact, nothing is happening, even as at yesterday. And I equally observe some errors in the one that I even collected. Supposed to read Makoko Ibi Ebitimeta. Marocco Ebitimeta was written. Other lapses that one can identify is the question of, in my unit again, about 9 names appeared in another something. Okay. There's something was not brought to our, and in fact, about 10 were totally missing on the voters list. As I'm speaking to you, in fact, nothing has started in areas like Alagomeji Sadu, about 6 units there. Nothing is happening whatsoever. So in essence, I want to believe that INEC sort of were disappointed in the way they handled this exercise. And people, they have mixed feelings about the intention of INEC, what are they up to, if a PVC, if this thing has been done since 2011, and you have enough time to prepare for us. We are saying that, okay, for 2 days, you collect something, and you cannot get it, So these are problems. The ad hoc, one cannot blame the ad hoc staff. Me as a person, I see it as an attempted attempt, a well-calculated script written by the ruling party. Okay,
just before you go ahead, I can see you're wearing an APC shirt, so I want to believe that you'll be speaking for the APC on this platform. And then, of course, you also, that will leave our viewership to decide the sentiment from which you're talking from. But a chieftain of your party, former governor of Lagos State, Bola Tinubu, said over the weekend, described this performance as shoddy, and a performance as shoddy, as regards the distribution of the PVC, especially in Lagos. And they also categorically described this as a plot to rig the 2015 general elections by the PDP. Don't you think that's taking it too far?
No, I cannot agree less with Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It is very clear. It is very clear. People in Lagos State knew what is happening. It started from we have 6.1 million registered voters that took part in 2011 elections, and you are now saying that at least cards PVC were available for just 4.8 voters. We are
4.8 million.
So it is very clear. If they are now saying that at least they can only provide PVC in 11 out of 20 local governments, so it then shows. And if this thing is happening in only APC-controlled state it then shows that there is a script by the ruling party being acted by INEC. And that is why we are losing confidence in the process. Election rigging don't just happen on the day of election. The first step, it's a process, and starts from, in fact, registration of voters, collection of PVC or have you. You see, and the excuses they were putting up by the spokesman of INEC is a lame excuse that one cannot agree with. You know, they just have something to say. If you are saying that, okay, now that you discover 82% as that they registered, they have double registration.
Okay.
It is not up to 1 million. It is not up to 100,000. Yet you have deleted, not omitted. You have deleted names of over 1.5 million people. It is expected in a growing population like that of Nigeria, particularly that of Lagos, in which many displaced persons were daily running into. And if given, in fact, the voting age, some who have reached the voting age, one would have expected that, in fact, the something will increase to about 8 points or whatever. It will increase generally. But the way they were doing it is to tell you that at least they have certain calculations to change state controlled by APC. I'm confirming what Ashwabi is saying. So that at the end of the day, the rigging pattern, by the time they are going to declare their results, I see that is what Nigerians did observe in the so-called turned registration in endorsing Mr. President.
How do you mean?
Well, they came. You see, those are the contradictions in the process to rig 2015 elections. They came to Lagos and were saying that over 3.5 million people endorsed Jonathan for presidency. It then shows, it means that, in fact, over 3.5 million people were voters in Lagos, registered voters. It is meaningless for non-voters to have endorsed Mr. President. So, if 3.5 million people endorse Mr. President, who are members of PDP, what is the number of registered voters in the APC?
Okay,
the party?
I understand your calculation now, 3.5 out of 4.8. But wouldn't you say that this is rather too apprehensive on the part of your party, given the nature of logistic challenges that still prevail in this part of the world? We have seen what happened even at the APC World Congresses, where people throw chairs at each other out of disagreement here and there, and then you have delays even in primary elections and all of that. Why do you not, wouldn't you give a room, you know, for growth, a room for improvement for the INEC? Why would we come out quite early to blame INEC, and not only blame INEC, but also indict them of supporting the ruling party at this time?
Our operation is very clear. They have that dangerous precedent since the inception of this process from 1999. And that is why Professor Maurice Wu, because of the disappointment and, in fact, the failure of INEC under his leadership, that people later called him Iwuruburu. By and large today, people were labeling Ejega as Jega. Why? It was because, okay, you mentioned something that, well, there is hiccups too in primaries of APC. Yes, it is expected, but it was manageable. And we have been able to manage it to a very large extent.
Some have described Professor Tairu Jega as one of the best INEC chairmen that Nigeria has had, given the improvement.
It is an instant conclusion to have ascribed that to Jega.
But your party is a beneficiary of Jega's administration.
How?
You won elections in Osun, didn't you? Under the purview of INEC.
That is part of the case. Had it been that Osun government and that Osun people were not vigilant enough, having learned their lesson from the manipulation in Anambra, from the manipulation in Delta, from the manipulation and militarization of that process in Ekiti, the reverse could have been the case, and it could have led to serious chaos.
But
in the
are
state
you
of the
saying
that
that over the years you have not personally seen any remarkable improvement in the procedures and processes of INEC's operation?
Too much is given, much is expected from. Given the antecedent of a Professor Jega, his role as ASU chairman, people ordinarily have a lot of confidence and repose much confidence in him. In fact, if Jega is not the INEC chairman today, I want to believe that we'll be part of those people who will be calling for the resignation of the INEC chair. I happen to be a student when he was ASU chairman. I know him personally, and he knew me as a student activist. He knew me very well. And we have confidence when he came on board. We are looking at something that it changed. So that we're looking at difference that Jega will stop confidence in the process, in electoral politics in Nigeria.
Are you saying that your party has lost confidence in Professor?
Totally. And that is why, and that is what the APC leader is saying. Beyond APC as a party losing confidence, I want to believe that an average electorate who have been disenfranchised in this process have lost confidence in INEC.
You know, it's hard
and it's a big to anarchy.
It's hard to understand the logic behind your loss of confidence, given that APC seem to have gotten more states under this same Professor Jega that you're talking about.
I don't think that is totally correct. That APC got more states under Jega. APC lost a state under Jega, not under before Jega came in. Before Jega came in, APC won. The manifestation starting protest, we gain that something through court processes.
Okay.
When the stolen mandate were annulled. So since Jega come on board now, APC have lost more than winning. If they, you know what happens in the case is what I can christen a scientific rigging, and it only happened with the collusion of INEC. And that is why, consciously, the governor of Osun continue to educate the electorate in Osun to be vigilant. And in fact, the ballot paper, that he taught them severally that it should be folded, because there is a mechanism in it that if you vote for any other party aside from the PDP, your thumbprint will appear there. So you cannot.
We cannot really confirm all of those proofs on this platform. But the good news, I believe, is that INEC has decided to extend the PVC distribution exercise in Lagos, Ogun, and Kano. Don't you see that as a welcome development to iron out all of those issues that you've brought to the table?
It's a palliative too little, and almost a palliative too late. If they are saying that now, by the time they extend something for 24 hours, where will the attitude of coming late and leaving around 4 change? Okay. These are issues. And you see, it will equally compound the problem of INEC itself. By the time we are saying that the registration will be ongoing from 12th to 17th, and the one we did in November, we're having this problem. It then shows that many people will be disenfranchised in APC control state. That is why we have lost confidence in the process. It then shows that many people will be disenfranchised, because we know that you cannot vote. Give another Jega, you cannot vote without the permanent voters card.
But there is room for the continuous voters registration exercise, which INEC said will hold between 12 and 17.
That's what I'm saying. I agree, but I'm saying that it is not enough. It's the calculated attempt to disenfranchise many people in Lagos and other areas. That
are you also aware that under the law, you as an individual and as a citizen of the country has the right to collect your card 30 days to election date? So would it be too early to start crying foul when we have close to 2 months all in our hands to deal with?
What confidence can we have in an organization, an institution like INEC, that can make, that whatever they handle can make or man Nigeria? If they handle voters registration and the so-called PVC for 3 years, and we're having this problem, for us to now sit down and fold our arms, kept quiet, when we do that, they said, the spokesman said they were still, that some of these people were still with their contractors. Who? Who do they contracted these things to? Is it internationally or within Nigeria? And I'm just saying that those that will now registered, that they will be able to provide that PVC between this short time. You know that they have other logistic problem regarding the election that they have to handle. Because November, let's assume that November is gone, December, January. So that is why we have lost confidence in the way and manner they are doing this. Well, maybe I may not totally call for his resignation now, because the person that they will bring in will just mess up the whole process, and that is dancing to the tune of the presidency.
Well, but the INEC chairman, irrespective of your claim, has come out to say that the 2015 election will be impossible to rig, especially with the introduction of what they now call the permanent voter cards that has the fingerprint. Of course, our election now will be fingerprint-based accreditation. Do you see that taking place in 2020?
That assertion is not tenable. The assertion, I repeat, is not tenable. I monitored the election in Ekiti, where people registered in a particular ward, in a particular unit, and their names, about 2 or 3 weeks earlier, the names were displayed. They found their names in their units. But on election day, can you imagine that some in Ward A found their names in Ward D? So it is not tenable. You have to restore people. It is what we're able to do, that people have confidence in you, that at least, yes, you can manage this process without any opera. We have been disappointed. It is true and it is clear. We see what happens, even in Anambra, where the candidate of the Labour Party, a governorship candidate, his name was missing. It happens to Tony Nwoye of the PDP. His family names, whatever, were missing in the voter register. So you are not telling us that.
So if it happened to the PDP, it's obviously not a case of a party challenge here. It's probably a challenge deep with the INEC, not necessarily in collusion between INEC and the
there is
and the major party.
There is concerning Lagos and other areas.
Just a minute, let's take this call. Good morning, Nasiru. Hello, good morning. I'm afraid we lost that. Nasiru, please call us back and endeavor to turn down the volume of your TV set while you do that. I'm saying that if it could happen to a PDP member, then I'm just trying to see an alternative to why is it that PDP and APC has never agreed on anything whatsoever. We're talking security, you guys are always disagreed. We're talking election, which Nigerians are hopeful will also unite the cause of Nigerians and make us stay and stick together as a nation. You're still divided. Why that continued division between these two parties?
There is no meeting point between light and darkness. APC represents change. We are saying Nigerians should be rescued. Nigerians should be rescued, should be saved from this rotten system. That, in fact, the PDP has performed woefully.
And you know, that's exactly because we have
from 1999 till date, there is need for change.
We have concerned Nigerians who have also called on the show in the past, and they say the concern of Nigerians is that APC has always come out to just say the bad things about the PDP, criticize what the PDP is doing, but not one of them, or not quite a number of them, have been able to come out to tell us what they would have done differently if they have the chance to lead Nigeria. Would you agree that your party is just reactionary and not really being able to solve the Nigerian problems?
Is even that concept reactionary? In fact, the PDP is peopled by reactionary element, conservatives that were comfortable with the present rottenness, and they wanted to continue with impunity. And that is why APC is clamoring, mobilizing Nigeria for change. you see, in terms of programs or whatever, APC has always provided alternative solutions to this problem. At the time, I recall around 2012.
Let me just hold you for a minute to take this call. Hello, good morning. Nasiru, are you there now? I'm afraid there's something terribly wrong with that connection. The noise there is terrible. Please, we're going to fix that, and I hope that we'll be able to take your call subsequently. Bishop, please.
I'm saying that over a year and 5 months after Asiwaju Tinubu proposed that there is need for the federal government to dangle carrot before this insurgent, that there is need for a sort of a ceasefire, whatever they coin it now, that if possible amnesty should be given to them, that there is need for us to negotiate with them. At that time, they were calling the organization faceless organizations. The same faceless organizations were the ones they were discussing with in the botched ceasefire that they agreed with before they now intensified that something. Another something is this. One of the aspirants of APC, Atiku Abubakar, he said if elected as Nigerian president, that he will provide free and qualitative education from kindergarten to university level. The same thing said, canvassed for by General Muhammad Buhari, 2011, and that is still talking about.
Atiku Abubakar was vice president for 8 years. Many are asking, why didn't he implement that when he had the chance? I mean, talk is cheap, my brother. I
agree. Talk is cheap, but there's in the Nigerian context, we know situation whereby deputies or vice of leaders at the top were rendered useless.
But he was the vice president of this country. He could have done something in northern Nigeria, which happens to be his own constituency.
Nifemi, the issue you raised, and that I'm talking about, is that it is not in the programs and perspective of a PDP for free and qualitative education. Now, if Atiku is part of APC, it then shows that it's a born again. And he starts saying that, yes, that he agreed with the content and letters of the constitution of the APC, which has a provision for free and qualitative education.
Does it not bother you that much of the people that make up the APC today are, prior to this time, members of the PDP? When you say born again, this is not a religious organization that changed their spiritual well-being. You know, the moment you carry your broom now, then that means something changed to you. It's many Nigerians, let me tell you the truth on this platform, believe that there's just a change in nomenclature. Okay, can you prove to me now that somebody changed from PDP to APC, and that means that something changed on the inside of him? How?
The permanent thing in life is change. In fact, is the simplest thing that is most possible is for people to change in attitude and orientation. Let me cite an example. Before, when Ajimobi was part of ANPP, they have their program. It negates whatever the contribution that he has made in Oyo State today. But when he key into the programs and perspective of the ACN, when he buy into that idea, it is what is implementing in terms of conscious infrastructural development of the Southwest. If those people who left the ruling party and joined forces with the progressive, quote-unquote, wing of the Nigerian ruling class, he then chose that they knew that they were bastardizing the politics, and there's need for change.
So, in some way or the other, we can say that there is, if I agree with your point of view now, there is a portion of the PDP who buys into the APC agenda.
That's why they were converted into the party.
And that's
why they joined it.
And you are sure it's not for personal interest? For instance, Tambuwal wants to become governor of Sokoto State. That opportunity is not coming from the PDP.
It is not an accident.
It sees the opportunity with the APC.
It is not an accident of history, and it is not peculiar to Nigeria. It's not an accident of history. Politics is who gets what, where, and when. And it's a question of a permanent interest. How, in what capacity can you serve your people? He knew from the onset that, okay, the way we are doing things, we are running things. He may be complaining in one way or the other, and his voice is drowned. And then I'll look and relate with others that, okay, this is my intention. This is what I want to do for my people. This is what my people were clamoring for. If he found accommodation in the alternative platform, the best thing for him to do is to have joined like he did.
It's all right. Wale Balogun, we're going to take a short break now. When we come back, we'll bring this open to you. We'll love to hear from you on this issue as we even move ahead from the PVC issue now to discuss other state of the nation as regards counting down to 2015 general elections. We'll also hope to be joined on telephone on this show with the resident electoral commissioner of INEC in Lagos. Stick around and don't go away.
Has it been a difficult task for you to purchase exquisite, classic, durable and sturdy furniture that will last the test of time? Here is good news for you. Purchase high-quality furniture for your household, offices, hotels and schools at Prince Interior Furnishing and Furniture Company Limited. Office address, Goshen Plaza, Showroom 28, Kubo Furniture Market, AYA, Nyanya Road, Abuja. Telephone 0803 119 1444 or 09291 7482. Email princeemeka240@yahoo.com. info@princeinterior.com. Website www.princeinterior.com. Purchase your furniture at Prince Interior Furnishing and Furniture Company Limited. Classic, strong, exquisite.